Okay, as you would guess, we are winding down very quickly. It is your time to utilize how you see fit today, tomorrow, exam on Wednesday, which has to deal with that of human body, athletic limits, or something to that extent, and that of what was wrote down about it's called the history of surgery or something to that effect. Okay, that's what's expected on Wednesday. Then Thursday, Friday, yes.
How do I tell the difference between the extensor, the...
Okay, we're going to take time to answer a different question. Okay, then that leaves us on Thursday, Friday, and Monday. Then the order on, usually I put these out, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. On Tuesday, that would be the 14th. Goes 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. And then on Wednesday, the 15th, it goes 3, 6, 4, 5, and then 8. Okay? So this is on Tuesday, and then yours is on Wednesday, the last day of school, last evaluation to give for not only just the day, but for your class and for the year. Then 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, then you're out of here at that time. Yes, you've always had 2 days at fourth period. It's always worked out that way. Okay. Now, we've had some specific questions like flexors and extensors. Okay. So let's say, I think in proper terms, what is an extension cord?
An extension of
In other words, it right.
Longer.
It makes it longer. So if you don't have a cord that's long enough to reach an outlet, you grab an extension cord, which means you're increasing the length of that. Does that make sense? Okay. This happens at joints that are hinge joints, whether it's at the wrist. You could say at the fingers, that's not quite a hinge joint, but like this, the elbow, and then the knee as well. Okay, so if we look at it at a plane of 180 degrees, okay, just like an extension cord, does that not make the distance longer? So if this is 180 degrees, what happens when you let your wrist down? Is that angle bigger or smaller? It's bigger, so you're increasing the, okay, that's a rhetorical question, like what are you doing? And I can answer that, but, okay. So what would you guess the opposite of extension would be? Flexion, which means this 180 degree angle would get smaller. When you flex something, then the angle decreases. But when you extend something, a joint, that means the angle is increasing, just like the length is increasing on an extension cord.
What is
An insertion would be on any muscle. It's where the movement actually occurs. One of the more common ones we could say right here on top is what muscle? Starts with a B. Now on the other end, other side, okay? So what that means then is an insertion. It does not insert, well, parts of it might insert on the humerus, but the majority of it would insert on the forearm, the radius and ulna. Why can an insertion probably not be on your humerus?
Because it's funny.
No. Because then this movement will not occur. Your muscle is flexing here, but it's pulling on your forearm. If it was attached here, it wouldn't do anything. Okay? So that means an insertion is where the movement actually occurs or something to that extent. Then the origin is an attachment of a muscle where the movement does not take place, okay? So in that case, it's actually up here on these structures called tubercles, okay, is where the origin actually takes place. And probably up here on your acromion process as well. But that's what an origin does not move, an insertion does. Okay?
Great explanation.
Anything else, or would you just like to have your own time to utilize how it is that you see fit?
Is there anywhere in the body that doesn't have any muscle at all?
Yes,
Where?
Your toenail.
the lungs. Lungs do not have muscles in them.
How do they get big and small?
They can check.
Boyle's law.
What?
Boyle's law.
Explain.
Okay? So one of the good questions that I like to ask, one dealing with the heart, one dealing with the lungs, okay? So if we're dealing with an avian heart, okay? Of course, we wouldn't just hear something and go bzzz. That's got to be our shoes squeaking, right?
Well, it wasn't me. I would have felt it.
I guess I don't know if this is funny or if we want to know the explanation or. So what might an avian be? Does anybody know? Yeah, Jerry back there. That's in the class Aves. Okay, it's an order Stygomorphes, and then which all owls belong into. That's something that you would learn in zoology should you choose to take that. I'm sure it's a Latin for. Okay, I don't know what it is that we could have said that was confusing other than Aves and Stygom.
Talking about birds. Well, I heard a name, but I didn't.
Oh. Talking about the owl. Okay. Yeah, I get it now. Okay. So then with your four-chambered heart, whether it's an avian or a mammal or a human, okay, this was the question that was on your exam. Okay, it doesn't have that point on there, but you get the general idea. The question would state each side of a human heart has what? So in other words, remember you're looking at a mirror image, which this is the right side, this is the left side, okay? You're not looking at this must be my right side because this is our right arm. It doesn't work that way, okay? Yeah. Okay. So each side.
Sorry, sir.
Do we continue or no?
We can continue. I get it.
You know, and one of you two had even asked this question. Okay. So what happens is when you look at the ventricles on the bottom, those are larger because these send blood away to the rest of the body. This just sends it to the lungs. Okay. And then, not that you need to know this, but I'm putting it down anyway. Okay? So the question would be that each side of the heart consists of, when we draw that line down, so each side consists of what now? What's on top? An atria. What's on the bottom? A ventricle. So each side consists of one atria and one ventricle. Not two atria, not two ventricles, not anything to that extent, because with the four chambers you have, of course. No, it could be, but it's just a question I like to ask, because the original one was, okay, is there any place where there is no muscle tissue, okay? Well, what happens is, okay, what do you suppose that might be on either side of the heart? No, those are lungs, okay? So then, does anyone know what muscle that might be? Okay? So what happens is the muscular action of this pulls down on your lungs, okay? So when that happens, the pressure inside these lungs drops below, well, whatever it is that we're at now. So let's say we'll just leave it, since it's at sea level, what makes the most sense is it's probably not quite 1.0 atmospheres, but we're just going to say that it is. So when this pulls down, the pressure does this approximately into your lungs, okay? So just like rolling a ball down a hill, does that take any energy?
No.
It does not. So if the pressure is less inside these lungs now than it is outside these lungs, will it take any energy to do that? No. So what happens is this pulls down, the volume expands so fast that the pressure drops. Okay? Then inside of each and every one of these ribs, which is a very good design of what the man upstairs did for us, because not only does it do a good job of protecting the left and right lung and also the heart underneath, although there are gaps in here, I understand that. But you can't have that be solid bone either, or else you wouldn't be able to breathe. So that's why you have this cartilage on here. And when that's available to do that, it allows that chest cavity to expand and contract.
Oh, is that why when you're benching, like it like bounces off of your chest sometimes?
Yeah, because this will flex. I would highly recommend that you don't do that, or minimize that as much as possible, okay? Because I would be led to believe you probably could maybe put a tiny tear or even fracture part of that if it's enough weight.
I bench 130 times.
Okay, I can't hear your question.
You know how you just have like a bunch of ribs like that? What if it was just like one solid bone?
It wouldn't be able to expand.
No, but what if it still had the cartilage on the inside?
It wouldn't be as efficient because you'd still have to have these spaces in there. That's why it can't be one solid, even if it would be able to flex a little bit, but not nearly as much as what you would like. Then in between all of these is there's muscle in tissue inside of there. So those contract. Then what happens inside the lungs now might be somewhere around, we'll say 1.30 atmospheres. Okay? Remember, this is outside our lungs. This is our inside of our lungs when we breathe in. This is out inside of our lungs when we breathe out. So it will flow out now. There is no muscles in here that cause that. That's the only muscle. There's only skin tissue inside your lungs. No muscles. Same thing with your fingers. There's no muscles in your fingers. You have no muscle tissue in your fingers. Okay? And you can tell that by just putting a little pressure on here. And when you move these digits or back here, it's about like piano wires. That muscle tissue is way back here in your forearm. So when this pulls, which you can see and feel, it's pulling on these tendons here where there's no muscle. Okay? Not ligaments. It's pulling on these tendons because that attaches muscle to bone. Okay. Any other questions that you feel you would like to ask? Now, keep in mind, yes, some of you can opt out, but is it still, I think you still have to take the final. It's just that it might not count. That's,
Wait, so.
okay,
this one?
hold that thought. All right, so we're just, again, just talking about odds and ends here.
Wait, so this exam is our semester exam?
No, it is not.
Okay.
It is, everyone's taking that.
Everybody's taking it.
Yes, your semester exam is here. That is,
This is like the, how do muscles attach to bones?
yes, that would be Wednesday.
So that's like our study.
Yes, that is correct.
So just this stuff?
And what was handed back to you today?
And the vocabulary,
That's correct. Okay?
but not the body part things?
Like the diagrams, that is your semester exam. Yes. Okay? Which also, your semester exam does include the mammals as far as classifying them. Okay?
It does?
It does.
Put it on God.
Okay? So you have that content. And I like using this example a lot. Barring no more questions, that will be it for today. You utilize, I think I said that once already, but you utilize this time how you see fit. But as far as those vocabulary evaluations, I would highly suggest that you keep them and then use them. Okay. Front row, anything else to add?
Yes, Don.
Yes, done.
Anything else to add?
Exactly.
Second row, anything else to add?
Really, say one more thing really quick?
Second row, anything else to add?
No, I think we'll be all right.
What would that be?
No, like nothing else to add.
Okay. Third row,
We'll be good.
nothing else to add?
No, thank you.
All right. So that seems like that is enough for today. We'll catch up to you next time.